In HTML, we can use center, which is just a center element, to align content in the center of an element. But what if we want to align an element using CSS? We have a couple different options. So to center something, we can use margin, and then we can set the left and right sides to auto. So margin, 0 is our top, right, bottom, and left, which is the same as 0 and auto, will automatically align your element into the center of your x-axis. So horizontally, from your left to right. This works great, but it's almost easier just to use the center element. Now, the thing that margin can do that center cannot do is center cannot position an element 20% from the left or 40 pixels from the top. So let's look at a custom alignment. We want to try and align the element using the margin. Let's try and align an element to the right using margin. So we're going to select all of our divs, use the margin property. Top is auto, bottom is auto, right is 0, and left is 85%. Now we told the browser to style all div elements with a margin. We took away the right margin by setting it to 0. We gave the margin left 85%. What we did was we aligned the div element by creating a really large left margin. This is going to push everything over to the right instead of pulling everything to the right. By using this method, we can set any content anywhere, but in this case, it could have just been easier to set a width and set the float right to all divs. If you want to get very precise, we can use the position absolute or position relative declarations and set the left and top properties. Alternatively, you could use right and bottom. Now, if we want to align our text, we can just use the text align property. Text align accepts left, right, center, justify, and inherit. Left, right, and center position the text accordingly, so left will align left, right will align it right, and center will center your text, not the element, just the text inside of it. Whereas justify will stretch the words out, kind of like in a newspaper. Now, this is pretty straightforward, but here's some code in use in case you need it. We have a div, style attribute, text align is equal to right. Now, div will take up the entire left to right space, because it's a block element, and your text here, right with an exclamation mark, will be as far right as it possibly can go. Then we have vertical align. In the event that you want to align some text on the y-axis, which is vertically up and down, you can do so by using vertical align. Now, this has a lot of different answers, so after this you might want to take a little bit of time and play with some of the different values and just get a feel for what they do. So vertical align is our property. It accepts sub, super, baseline, top, text top, bottom, text bottom, middle, and inherit. So sub is the same as the sub element, subscript. Remember, sub as in submarine, so your text is going to be smaller and a little bit lower. Whereas super is the same as the sup element, the sup element. Remember, super as in Superman, and Superman flies above all the other text. Baseline is default and aligns the base of the element with the base of its parent. So this allows everything to be aligned on one line. Top will align your text with the highest point on the line. For example, a large image will stretch the line to be taller, so your text will be at the very top of the line. Text top aligns the top of the element with the high points of its parent element's font. So this is pretty much the same thing, to the exception of anything that doesn't stretch the line out. Text top is very similar to just the top value. However, if you have a font that's 32 pixels, that's going to stretch the line, whereas if you had an image and that tried to stretch the line to 32 pixels, that's not going to affect this. It's only going to align the text to the very top of all the other text so that it all lines up at the top of the line. This one's a little bit more tricky to explain. And then we have bottom, which is the opposite of top. It aligns with the lowest part of the line, even if an image or something other than font will stretch it out. And text bottom aligns the bottom of this element with the bottom of its parent element's font. So again, if you have, let's say, one word or a first letter pseudo that creates a 32 pixel letter, then it's going to stretch the line out to be 32 pixels and it's going to align all your text to be at the bottom. And then we have middle, which will align the text in the middle of the parent element. To apply this code, you just use it like so. Vertical dash align, and then you just choose one of the values. I just chose super here, and that will create a superscript.